What is up, YouTube? This is T11 coming at you with another video. Today I'm going to talk to you about Raiders of the Lost Ark. Now, with the fifth Indiana Jones movie on its way, I thought now would be the best time to talk about a film that I've been wanting to talk about ever since I started making reviews. It had quite the impact on me when I saw it when I was 9 years old, and since I won't be making videos anymore by the time that Indiana Jones 5 comes out, this is probably the only chance I'm going to get to talk about it. And while it's true Gremlins is the film that made me want to become a filmmaker, after watching Raiders, I knew the kind of films I wanted to make. Now, since everything about this movie is downright perfect, it's kind of hard to pick a best element, but one of the standouts in my mind is the brilliant screenplay by Lawrence Kasdan, who's already one of the most talented writers who ever lived. And from a writing perspective, there is no better film than Raiders. Great, fleshed out, and likable characters, intimidating villains with diverse and interesting personalities, and some of the best dialogue ever written. However, Steven Spielberg's direction is just as good, with absolutely beautiful cinematography and action scenes that, even after 35 years, still manage to take my breath away. The convoy scene in particular may just be the standout moment of Spielberg's entire career. And Harrison Ford, as I've said in previous videos, is a perfect lead actor, one of the greatest, if not the greatest of all time, and the character of Indiana Jones in particular is actually very atypical of action films. He's not invincible. He's a total badass, make no mistake about that, but he's vulnerable too. He gets punched, he gets bloodied, but he keeps fighting, and that is so damn entertaining. Karen Allen as Marion Ravenwood is not only the best love interest in the Indiana Jones franchise, but possibly of all time. She's feisty, likable, intelligent, and of course, gorgeous. John Rhys Davies is Sala, great sidekick, probably the best ever, with some great comedic timing and chemistry with Ford. He's just really entertaining. And I have to talk about the villains. Belloc is such a perfect scumbag, but he has layers to him. He's a pretty elegant guy, and that's actually pretty interesting. And Tote is almost the Indiana Jones equivalent to the Joker. He's just an unhinged psychopath. Dietrich as well is a great villain, with a physically imposing stature and icy cold personality. Any of these three would make a fantastic main villain, but together they make up the greatest villain ensemble ever. And as I already said, the action scenes still hold up. They are still great, even after all this time. With they're so brutal, and they have a real gritty, visceral nature to them, and I always love that. They even put Fury Road to shame in some aspects. And there's also some really colorful and interesting locations, which are always a nice touch, and some surprisingly funny comedy that never once crosses the line into being cheesy, which is incredibly hard to do. And of course, the score by John Williams is damn great. He's always good in no matter what film he's doing, even if it's in Star Wars prequels. But it's so good here, and the pacing is absolutely perfect. You may remember how much I lauded the first Mummy film. Everything it does, Raiders does better. And in terms of flaws, there isn't a single fucking one. Film is what all movies should strive to be. Not only is it easily my biggest influence as a writer, since every piece of fiction I've ever produced has a bit of Raiders in it, but objectively speaking, it's the greatest film of all time. So, in conclusion, Raiders of the Lost Ark is a tightly written, superbly directed film with great characters, fantastic dialogue, and some of the best action scenes ever put to film. So, of course, it earns a 10 out of 10. It's the definition of a 10 out of 10, and if I could give it an 11, I would. This is T.1 signing out.